Welcome back to Mario Odyssey. Oh no, we're lost. In the Lost Kingdom. Why is it called
Doc,
that?
I don't
I don't
know if
know.
we're in the right year anymore.
We're not in Kansas anymore, Mario. That's Cappy.
We got
Oh,
both
Mamma
Back to the
Mia.
Future and
The Wizard of
Wizard of
Oz.
Oz.
Yeah.
They little did they know they ended up in Dinosaur Jungle from Secret Rings.
This, if this is Dinosaur Jungle, it's very lame looking in comparison.
I don't know. I was just trying to add to it. Okay.
There's no dinosaurs. It's
Or
just
cacti.
caterpillars and vultures.
Or cacti.
So you remember when the bird takes your hat in the desert level in Mario 64?
Yes.
They turned that into a frantic moment because, you know, your hat's now a sentient being. But you could still just gotta go around collecting moons as normal. Who needs Cappy?
I'm sure a lot of people say this is like their favorite moment in the game. So a
It's
lot of
so
people like
easy.
that in these games where they're like, because I noticed it with Sunshine as well, where it's like, oh yeah, the best moments are where they take away your power ups, so then you have to, learn to use it, then not use it.
Yeah, but in this instance, it's not really that big of a deal because it takes 10 seconds to
Yeah.
walk up there and save him. So there are,
I mean, that's
like,
how it is in like all of those.
yeah, there are like Cappy-less sub areas in this game, where you have to throw your hat onto Cappy and then either something will spawn, like a platforming section, or a door will open, and that'll lead to another platforming section. So it's pretty much the thing from Sunshine. I would say none of those are as good as the floodless sections in that game.
Well, because those were like hard.
Those were hard, and for me, they're like easily the best parts of that game. And it's like,
I wouldn't go that far from my experience, but I also finished the game, so don't listen to me.
well, I like it because like I like the linear platforming 3D Mario games a lot, like 3D World and stuff, and that's kind of like those. But you actually get the full-fledged 3D Mario moveset to go with it. So, these are also that, but the problem with these is that they're just really simple. You don't really get a whole lot of super duper complex linear platforming challenges in this game.
I guess I preferred the Bowser levels of 64 in comparison
those
to
are
the
great.
the
Those are great,
floodless
too.
sections, because like they felt like they had more presence to them. And because I wasn't too big on just the random floating blocks of geometry, which is what the Bowser sections are, but they got the textures on them, and it's kind of a vibe to it.
Mario Galaxy is essentially just Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is essentially just a full game with the design mentality of the Bowser sections of 64, obviously with the added gravity gimmick. But
yeah, definitely helps me vibe more with that one than the others.
Yeah, that's why I kind of just treat the sandbox Marios and the more linear ones as like separate series, which they kind of are. They kind of aren't, because they obviously learn from one another. And they're
like,
always like the same devs or like the same studio. So
yeah, this is like watching a Super Metroid speedrun where like every 10 seconds you hear the item fanfare.
yeah. Well, that's just kind of how Mario Odyssey is by default.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, unlike Super Metroid, we're not a good 10 minutes of our playthrough isn't just the fanfare music.
It's probably more than that because there's way more moons than items in Super Metroid.
Yeah, but like it's quick, so I don't know.
It's not that quick. Because you get the little and then you wait a half second, and then the moon ticks, and then the cutscene actually ends.
I guess.
So
It's like a bit longer than like what Dread does, where it has that quick, snappy bass sound.
Yeah.
Like a subwoofer so powerful that I think Mick Gordon got jealous.
Yeah. I would say I'm fine with the moon jingle because, you know, it's like a nice little dopamine hit when it happens.
Oh, and I'm fine with it in Metroid as well. It's just funny that if you're specifically a speedrunner, it's your enemy.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not a speedrunner, so I relish every time I get to hear the item collection music.
Yeah, I like watching Mario Odyssey speedruns, but it does feel like half the time is spent watching the Mario just do a little flip and getting the moon, because they basically they're always getting the minimum moons, and they're also getting the fastest moons possible to collect at any given moment. So you're never really getting like the more complex moons unless it's required for progression. So yeah.
See, Square had the right idea by allowing you to shorten animations when it made Final Fantasy X. More devs should do that.
The 3D Mario devs got worse because in Bonanza, collecting a banana takes way longer than collecting a moon in this.
Oh, fun.
Though technically 100% of the bananas in Donkey Kong Bonanza are optional, because while they are the moon equivalent or the star equivalent for that game, they're used for like skill point upgrades rather than progression most of the time. Most of the time you just have to actually run through the level and beat the bosses to progress in that game. So it kind of makes the speedruns a little more interesting, because then, you know, they're getting bananas to like upgrade like certain movement options and stuff. Right. Instead of, you know, oh, we need 10 bananas to go forward. So
Man,
that game is
imagine,
just very different.
And hear me out, like if a Sonic game had a metal collection system like that, and like for some reason one of the level gates, you know, takes a stupidly high amount. Like imagine if that ever happened. Wouldn't that just suck? I bet they've never done that before.
Yeah. And imagine also if they did it in a strictly linear video game as well. Like, not a sandbox that you're exploring by default. That'd be crazy.
They'd never do that.
Absolutely not. So anyway, Sonic Unleashed is a great video game. You should play it.
We love Sonic Unleashed to death on this channel.
We do.
I will not tolerate slander. So anyways, that metal collecting system is flawed as hell.
Yeah, which is, you know, half the reason I want like an official PC port, because if they do what they did with Lost World, they would significantly reduce the amount of medals you actually need.
That's all they have to do. That's all they have to do.
That's literally
Otherwise,
all
they're
they
great.
have to do.
Otherwise, they're perfect. They encourage exploration. You get to see some cool spots if you collect them. They're great.
Yeah. It's like it would be the perfect system for Sonic fans, because Sonic fans are always about, oh, but my exploration in my speedy platformer. So, you know, the hardcore fans would get their exploration satisfaction by finding more medals and getting rewarded for that, while the casual gamer can just get what they need and go. Even though, you know, Sonic fans will still hate on the game even if they reduce the medal requirements.
Probably. The closest we got to something cool like that was like Sky Sanctuary's medals, or the red rings. That's what they're called.
The red rings, yeah. I think
where
the red
you have to
rings
take 3 different paths to the end to get them.
Yeah. For my money, I do think the red rings are the perfect addition for the Sonic games because they are pretty much the unleashed medals, and they are hidden pretty cleverly in most of the games that they feature in.
Yeah. The only well, other than like Frontiers, where they're just there to highlight.
They're
the path
literally
you're supposed
there.
to take.
Yeah.
Every other path doesn't matter because it doesn't have these.
You know, I was really looking forward to the Frontier cyberspace stages because I knew about the challenges that you had to do to like fully complete a stage. I thought that the S rank requirement would require you to get like all of the challenges in one run. Which if that were the case, it would be a lot more fun for me at least.
Challenge run. Yeah, I guess you just had to force yourself to do it.
Yeah, but no, they just have really easy time requirements. Oh no, Cappy! You don't need it.
It would have been funnier if he just left forever.
Yeah.
And just soft locked you.
Yeah, he just keeps flying off into the distance.
Missed opportunity, devs.
I never really thought about it, but this is pretty much the most vanilla-looking Mario level in this entire game. This looks like it could be a new Super Mario Brothers jungle level or something.
Yeah. Those do look pretty generic. They're all fun, but generic.
I kind of like it, though, because unlike most people, I find the I guess the simple nature of Mario worlds in most of the other games to be kind of endearing and stuff in its own right.
Well, it's relatively easy to navigate, and it has just enough definition that you're not going to get lost, so you can remember landmarks and such.
Yeah. This place is pretty much just one big hill. It's kind of like it's a weird example because I've only played a little bit of that game, but it's kind of like a Banjo-Kazooie stage.
Yeah. It's like Sonic Forces, but because it's not Sonic Forces, it actually works.
It's Sonic Forces, but not like it at all. So it's great.
I mean, in the sense that it just doesn't have too much detail and much to want to look at.
Yeah.
Which works for Mario because that's not really, I think, the point.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bring it up, like the appeal of the like simpler Mario worlds, for me at least, because I actually am one of the few people that kind of prefers Mario 3D Land over 3D World, and that's purely because that 3D Land kind of tries to make the more traditional feeling Mario environments feel more, I don't know, immersive in a way. Like they feel like more real than the levels in 3D World, which just are literally all blocks floating in the sky kind of levels, you know?
Yeah.
It like 3D Land's levels kind of feel like the simple like theming of a new Super Mario Brothers game, but with the kind of like attention to detail that like Mario Galaxy had with its worlds.
I mean, to me, it gave me the same vibes I got playing New Super Mario Bros. Just the original one on DS. Where
yeah,
every single level had something different to bring to the table. Where it felt like it was rare to just get a standard platforming level, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
My only complaint about 3D Land is like the hub's really, really boring.
It
feels unfinished. It just doesn't have any charm to it. Like all they had to do was create basically the same thing as a new Super Mario Bros. Game, but they couldn't even do that, which was a bit disappointing.
It's like the most bare bones version of that it's basically just a level select.
Yeah.
Though to be fair, like that was coming right off after Galaxy 2, which does like the exact same thing, so.
Yeah. And then 3D World on the Wii or Wii U I mean, yeah, it feels like New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where it's more complex, but I feel it loses the charm.
Yeah, it's sort of like the comparison people have between Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2, where Galaxy 2 has like you know, better or more fun levels with more gimmicks and whatnot to keep the gameplay itself interesting, while Galaxy 1 has, it's still a really fun game on its own, though the level design might not be as good, but it has a better sense of like depth and immersion to it.
It has the
Especially
wonder.
with, yeah. And it's like that same difference for 3D Land versus 3D World, just on a much smaller scale, because 3D Land is obviously still focused on, level design and gameplay more than anything. It's just a small like difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference like kind of got a little bit wider because of the Switch version of 3D World, which amps up the speed for all the characters by a lot, making that game just kind of speed focused more than anything. Like you're just blitzing through the stages at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Also, hey, we're in New Donk, but things are not as colorful as the trailers suggested they would be. What's happening? Oh no! It's just, all these cities and all these kingdoms have their like issue at the start, and then you save them, and then they're new,
Uh-huh.
or they're better now, I guess. So
Yeah, it's like, here's
we
the linear path for the level. You can beat this, and then we'll open it up, but you don't have to stay if you don't want to.
yeah, this is like one of the few times I would say where the game truly like bars you from the actual sandbox until you do the first like story mission for it. Because
I
all the other
personally
kingdoms,
prefer that.
yeah, it's just unfortunate that you can't like come back to this version of New Donk after you've beaten it.
Yeah, because, like, something that kind of wears me out on these kinds of open world games is if they don't have a proper gap between the open world and the linear stuff. Like, there's some points I need a break from the open world because it's just too
Yeah.
much. There's just too much to explore. Like, if every time I finished a level in this and it just immediately took me to another open world free to explore, I would just feel too overwhelmed every time,
Yeah.
I'd get burned out. This is something that, like, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has done pretty well so far.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, you get the first big open world, you don't really have to do too much to progress, and then you're just left there. If you want to finish it, go for it. You can come back later, or you can move on and you get a pretty long linear dungeon, to break up the pace.
Yeah.
So,
It
like,
was
once you get to the
actually-
next open world, it's a breath of fresh air now.
Yeah. It was actually something I kind of had an issue with. It's like kind of the opposite problem that I had with Stellar Blade. Where that game is like 99% linear. And then you get like the open sandbox levels. There's like 2 or 3 of them in that game. That are just massive.
Yeah.
And like even though there's only a few of them, you end up spending so much time in those open sandbox stages.
Because between both, like, segments of those, they're all really good. They're just not fairly balanced at all.
Yeah. So I just ended up finding myself yearning for the next linear stage whenever I got to a sandbox. And though I guess that's kind of not the opposite problem. It's kind of a similar problem, just with a different twist on it, I guess.
Well, like I said, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does it in a way where once you're done with the open world, you're probably going to feel pretty burned out on it. So when you have the lengthy dungeon and linear section, you get that palette refresh. So by the time you're at the end of that, you're now at the open world again, and you can continue on. Your battery's recharged or whatever.
For me personally, I think I prefer having like games that are focused more on one thing rather than having a mix. Games that do have a mix of like a more open kind of gameplay and a more linear style, like more 50-50, I guess, can be good. I just find myself preferring, like, if I'm playing an open sandbox game, I kind of want most of it, if not all of it, to be an open sandbox, and vice versa. If it's a linear game, I kind of don't necessarily want to have these open world segments that take forever. So I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. I prefer a good balance between them. Because a pure open world game for me is just not my cup of tea, especially anymore. So having the linear segments to help. And like clear delineations of like, okay, if I do this, I'm not going to be in the open world for a while, and things might even change. So, I get that opportunity to do what I want, which also helps. Nier Automata is a really, really good example of this as well. Not the original Nier, though. I want to make that clear.
Nier, I don't even know how to describe that game.
Perfect.
To be honest with you. I don't know.
As perfect as Drakengard.
Can't believe that's like kind of an insult to Nier.
A little bit, but there are some people who are diehard Drakengard fans who will argue it's actually a really good game. Because I'll see it every now and then when people bring up like the idea of like a Drakengard remake, and then there's always a bunch of comments under it being like, "No, it's not needed." And I'm like, that's like the one game I would want to see get remade. Because it's not good, but it has good ideas.
I'm of the same mindset. I think like remakes would be better suited for like bad video games. So
man, just imagine if like they announced a Sonic 06 remake and then everyone gets pissed, being like, "Oh, you don't need to remake the game; it's perfect," and trying to argue that. I'm like, no, guys, just admit it's flawed.
I would love an 06 remake. Unfortunately, with an 06 remake, they're just not gonna please anyone with that product because,
Well, yeah, P06 ruined all expectations.
That and just the fact that, like, there are actual fans of 06, warts and all, and including the story of 06, and we all know that if 06 got remade, they would heavily alter the story, for sure. And by default, the gameplay is going to be heavily altered because...
No, they wouldn't... I hope... And this is like worst case scenario. They don't alter the story at all. It's just redubbed. Just imagine Roger Craig Smith and Elise.
Roger Craig Smith, and they would just hire the Amy actor to play as Elise. Or the actress. I forget her name.
I don't remember her name.
Oh, no, I don't remember. Never mind. I was thinking of Lisa Ortiz, but that's not current Amy.
Almost met her at a convention.
Almost. Didn't want to wait in line.
Hell no. I was there during the Cards Against Humanity, though.
See, on remakes, and to bring it into the topic of Mario, I kind of would like to see, like, another Mario 64 remake. Just because, like, I personally love Mario 64, the original at least, but I also really love Odyssey, and I would kind of like to see what a Odyssey-ified Mario 64 would be like.
This reminds me of. Sorry, I'll talk about what you were saying, but I just want to say real quick. This reminds me of the serpent boss fight from Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, just not nearly as hard or interesting.
That fight is very difficult.
Yes, it is. All the fights in that game I struggle with really badly.
I did when I first played it, but usually if I go back to replay it, I beat him first try or maybe like 1 or 2 deaths at most. You know, just to remember the pattern.
Yeah. See, for me, I struggle with the patterns of the bosses in that because they just have such big hitboxes. It's hard for me to account for that. You know, when I'm playing. Because Samus in that game also takes up quite a lot of the screen herself because it's a Game Boy game. So
Yeah.
it's just hard to judge. And if you like, I feel like the only safe distance for bosses in that is when the boss is off screen. Even though I know that's not true. It just feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, Mario saved the city.
Sunlight.
And now there's nothing like wrong with the city anymore. We just want to put on a or I think Mayor Pauline wants to celebrate something. I don't know why or what. Maybe because Mario helped. I don't actually remember. But we'll find out what that's all about next part, I guess.
Hooray.
So we'll see you then.